The highest security body, the Nigerian Security Council, has dismissed any heightened sense of insecurity in the nation's capital by Western embassies as unnecessary and irresponsible, while urging all citizens and foreigners to remain calm. The council said this after an emergency session by President Muhammadu Buhari. State House correspondent Adesua Monroe tells us more.
An emergency meeting of Nigeria's highest executive organ on security. The meeting is summoned by President Muhammadu Buhari to discuss recent happenings within the Federal Capital Territory and terror alerts by Western embassies, insinuating a major security threat within the nation's capital, Abuja, and its environs. After deliberations, the National Security Advisor says Nigeria currently does not have any situation that warrants terror alerts as issued by foreign countries to their citizens in Abuja.
Without giving the impression that Nigeria is skating on thin ice and we're about to implode. That I would want to dispel any illusion about any heightened sense of insecurity. It is false, it is irresponsible for anybody to give that signal. But there will be a lot of interpretations of this alert. It is an unnecessary distraction. As far as we are concerned, the safety, the security of Nigerians is paramount, and as far as we know, there's nothing untoward so far. Nigerians should be allowed to go about their legitimate undertakings without being put in a tight spot. The country is safe, Abuja is safe.
Despite not being substantiated, the authorities don't seem to be treating the terror alerts with levity. Officials say engagements are underway with foreign missions.
First of all, to mitigate and blunt any threat that there could be from outside the country, but also working with and engaging with the foreign missions within the country to ensure that whatever we do, whatever we say is constructive and should not in any way cause unnecessary alarm and in any way destabilize the country.
Normally it's unusual for me to speak to the press. I don't do that. But this is, as the Minister of Foreign Affairs has said, has a great deal of foreign dimension, and this is to say that Nigerians should actually remain calm. Situation is under control. There is nothing new.
The Nigerian military says it remains at alert to help secure the country's sovereignty and support other security agencies with the responsibilities for internal security.
And so far, there's no cause for alarm, and Nigerians should go about their normal duties as the armed forces and all the security agencies are well poised to protect them accordingly. Perhaps to use this opportunity to mention that I'm sure some of you may have seen in the media or amongst you that on the night of 29th October 2022, Wawa cantonment in Niger State was attacked. And of course, the alertness of the troops led to the neutralization of the attackers and their vehicles that were laden with IED and other items were impounded, and 5 of those attackers were equally arrested. Just to let you know, to use that to let you know of the level of alertness of members of the armed forces, the police, and other security agencies.
Residents of Abuja and the country at large are being urged to go about their business without apprehension. While the Nigerian government attempts to restore calm, the purpose of the alerts issued especially by the US and the UK to their citizens in Nigeria remains shrouded in uncertainty. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has left Abuja to London for a routine medical checkup and is expected back in the country in the second week of November. Adesua Omoruan, Arise News.
Right, still on the national security, President Muhammadu Buhari is tasking the Nigerian police force to provide conducive environment that will allow the choice of electorate to emerge in the 2023 elections. The president gave this charge at the opening session of a retreat for senior police officers in Owerri, Imo State capital. Arise security and defense correspondent Ferdinand Droha reports.
It's not just another police gathering, but one whose outcome will go a long way in determining the future of the nation. The conference, which is attracting top players in the security sector and other election stakeholders, is taking place in Owerri, the capital of Imo State. Two issues are of strong importance: developing a framework to improve election security and internal security management. For President Muhammadu Buhari, democracy provides Nigerians with a framework to elect an acceptable government, and fundamental to this is a reform of the police force.
It is my expectation that force will maximize the opportunity of this conference and reach to achieve two critical goals. First, to review the current and evolving internal security threats as they may impact on a peaceful and successful elections. Second, to perfect operational plans that will guarantee a credible outcome in the 2023 general elections.
The Inspector General of Police says officers at the retreat will identify and provide solutions to specific trends that could destabilize the 2023 election.
Guarantee a stable internal security space for electioneering campaigns and all other democratic activities to thrive in the drive to engender a credible outcome of the 2023 general elections. Having been so charged by Your Excellency, we are already collaborating with the independent, the military, the intelligence community, and other sister security agencies towards presenting a unified national front in this regard.
The host governor, Hope Uzodinma, says based on the reforms embarked upon by INEC, all that is needed is the commitment of the security agencies to support the electoral process.
As we approach the general elections of 2023, permit me therefore to suggest that this strategic plan should include a recommendation that all the candidates in all the elections must undertake under oath to denounce violence. They should also commit and sign an undertaking that all disputes over election results can only be challenged peacefully through the court processes.
Now, the conference and retreat for senior police officers ends with a charge from the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces: provide a suitable environment that will ensure that the choices of the people are reflected in the results of the 2023 general elections. Ferdinand Droha for Arise News.
All right, Dr. Bati, a lot to chat on this morning.
Okay, let's start with the police, that senior police officers retreat in Owerri. On that occasion, yes, the president charged policemen to be apolitical. I think that is very important, because the police play a very important role, as well as other security agencies, during elections. If they are not apolitical, then it means they are partisan. A partisan police force cannot offer professionalism in something as critical as elections. And President Buhari used the occasion also to express his commitment to leave behind a legacy of a police force that is technologically driven, that is professional, and that is up to the task in defending the rule of law and the legacy of democracy in Nigeria. Now, in saying all of that, it was also important that he reminded them of what he has done for the police. He said, he has supported the idea of community policing. It was under him that the Police Trust Fund Bill was signed into law, and also the Nigeria Police Academy Bill, and also he has approved a review of remuneration of emoluments for the police. And that what the country expects from the police is to be professional, and that he is committed to making every resource available to them. And of course, I hope that the Nigerian police force will take this to heart, because during elections, you will recall in the past that policemen have been very notorious in terms of their performance. But the president reminded them that they did well in Edo, Anambra, Ekiti, and Osun elections, and that he expects them to replicate that performance in the 2023 general elections. So, we can't give up on the police. When you tell policemen, oh, I feel this way about the Nigerian police force, they'll say, okay, if you disband the police force, will you prefer the alternative? So, perpetually, year in, year out, the duty of government, the responsibility of government is to continue to encourage the police force and other security agencies and to make sure that they get the wherewithal. And I hope that the salaries, have been duly paid, including arrears, because oftentimes this is usually an issue. The second major issue that was brought up was the National Security Advisor, Major General Monguno, telling every Nigerian to just go about their normal business, saying that the government is on top of the situation and that the panic that was created was unnecessary. Well, we saw other chief officers of the state, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Chief of Defense Staff, also reassuring us that the terror alert, the security alert, was meant for UK citizens, US citizens, other foreign nationals in Nigeria, but that, well, the thing went out and Nigerians panicked. Well, that's to be expected. I mean, it's natural that Nigerians will panic, having heard from outside sources that there are issues. But I think it's also important that the chief security officers of the state, including the National Security Advisor, have come out after that emergency security meeting yesterday to reassure us that, we do not need to panic and we should go about our normal businesses. That is what government, of course, is expected to do. Because, again, the National Security Advisor pointed out that it's in the nature of their own work not to just put everything in the public domain, but we just take the assurance. And I hope that Nigerians now, caught between the information from foreign sources and the Nigerian authorities reassuring, will be patriotic enough to have trust in the Nigerian narrative, even if we have this natural attitude to disbelieve whatever government tells us. However, with regard to security, the National Assembly now in Abuja has introduced a stop and search operation for every vehicle going in and out of the National Assembly. So that will be an indication of an effort being made by the security agencies. Number two, the executive committee in charge of the Federal Capital Territory also issued a statement yesterday assuring Abuja residents that the executive committee in charge of the Federal Capital Territory is also on top of the situation, working hard to make sure that the Federal Capital Territory authorities collaborate with the security agencies. But the point that they made, that I thought that should be repeated, is that citizens also have a responsibility to pay attention to their own security. If you have buildings, if you have facilities, it helps to install CCTV cameras so that you can monitor your own environment. But the optimism of the National Security Advisor is something I think is left for us to hold on to. And the security agencies must just realize that having assured us, having given us the confidence that all will be well, all should be well.
I mean, it has to be said that, yes, we're excited about this reassurance. We want reassurance like this. We would like to call for calm. Our security forces are on top of it. Kudos to them. But information management was key in all of this. This was what to have been done. This was what ought to have been done last week. When you have a security emergency, it is not a week after you call the top security echelon together and you debrief. It should be done on day one. If you do that on day one, then you get on top of the information narrative. Because as with every security challenge, there is the security challenge itself and there is a narrative challenge. So if you get on top of this and you're saying it from day one, yes, Who will understand you. Not those counter-posturing that drills are happening, there's another talk somewhere dispelling the challenges and everything we have. So I'm happy this has been done. It behoves on us to come together as a nation, and we should have, security agencies get on top of things quickly. We're having joint briefings by the NSA as early as the second day after that report made the round. Then we see that sense of seriousness. But we'd like to call for calm. We'd like to call for calm, and like the security authorities have said, people should go out there to their normal duties. They're on top of it. Stop and search is on. And I think that will also linger on for a while till we, lower things down. But kudos to them. But this should have been done earlier. And I hope we take learnings and lessons from things like this. From day one, we should have emergency security meetings coming together, getting on top of this, show that you're on top of it, and so that you can reassure people and show that level of confidence so that narratives are not hijacked. It has to be said. Secondly, good one by the president. And although he has gone to London and a lot of people are beginning to talk about that, but this is normal medical routine. And that's why I keep calling to a large extent that the next presidential candidate should issue their medical reports. The next president of Nigeria should be able to see comprehensive medical reports, although it's not backed up by law. Probably someday it will back up by law. But the meat of the matter in Imo is the fact that he told the police to be apolitical. And that's really very important, because we've seen one too many times our security authorities, there are the allegations of people taking sides. I mean, we remember those infamous calls that were leaked to the public about various state governors telling security officers, I've paid you for XYZ election, you need to deliver on all of that. But if our security authorities remain apolitical, then we can have credible elections in 2023. And that's what we want, because Nigeria is dogged by many challenges, it's in a quagmire of its own, but we see future, we see potential. And integrity of our security forces will play a long role in ensuring that there's that level of respect and accountability for our electionary process. And I'm happy that President Muhammadu Buhari has led the way. And he's told the police officer that I've done a lot for you, but also would like to say you can do more, so that we can ensure that we have free and fair elections and continue to bolster our Nigerian police force. We'll move on to the next story. Presidential candidate of the Labour Party is urging supporters to disregard the manifesto of his party currently in circulation. Obi's comment comes against the backdrop of a viral document purported as his manifesto. In a tweet, Obi asked the public to disregard the draft document in circulation, saying that we'll personally release his manifesto at the appropriate time. The former Anambra State governor started his campaign on Saturday in Lafia, the Nasarawa State capital, and promised to solve Nigeria's flood challenge, as well as ensure the country attains sufficiency in food production if elected in 2023. Dr. Bati?
Well, I guess this is straightforward. It settles the matter. The papers reported on Sunday, Monday, quoting Dr. Donyo Kupe, the spokesperson of the Labour Party campaign, that there was going to be the presentation of the Labour Party manifesto on Monday, that is yesterday. And indeed, yesterday there was some document, flying around. But we've been told now by the candidate of the party himself that, what was being circulated was probably a draft, not a final copy, and that he will personally present his own manifesto. So we wait, and this is not the first time this will happen. The same thing happened with the All Progressives Congress, when at a point we were told there was something in circulation, and the spokesperson of the party disowned it. But eventually, the APC came up with their 80-page manifesto. So it's fairly straightforward. We wait, and then we hope that when that manifesto is eventually released, it will not be a statement of principles or an articulation of promises, as you have seen in some instances, but a clear plan of action with specific details, backed with data about how Mr. Peter Obi, were he to become president, will provide leadership at that level.
I mean, we're waiting for the manifesto. And we're also calling on other political presidential aspirants, I should say, that have not released their manifesto, over 18 of them. Would like to see the manifestos of all the political parties, the ADC, the PRP, all the political parties on the ballots, because Nigerians have a right to see, so that they can, look at these ideas, look at the implementation plan, and be able to make their choice in the election.
Like there are 18 political parties in the race.
In the race, yeah.
The total is 18.
18 political parties in the race. So like you said, I want to see those actionable plans. I read through the draft, and I would also like to see when the full manifesto comes out and see, the meat of the matter. The meat of the matter is not the problem case, because what I see in most manifestos that I've read thus far is the problem case. In fact, we over-romanticize the problem. But the solution, the step-by-step approach, and how plausible those solutions are, how empirical those solutions are, because those are the things we'll get to challenge in the debate. And also, we'd like to encourage the presidential candidates to attend the debates, please. I hear one is coming up. NESG is having one in this month of November. Happy New Month, I should say, by the way. And the 15th of November, I hear that is coming up. And other debates that will come up in this 4-month cycle leading up to the election in February next year. Attend the debates. Let's debate these ideas. Let's talk about the country. Because after all said and done, after elections have been won and lost, it's our country. And we all, both winners and losers, need to come together to develop this country, because this is the only place we've got to call our home. We end this bulletin with a very sad story about the death of Ifeanyi Adeleke, son of popular Nigerian artist Davido, and his fiancée Chioma Rowland. According to reports, Ifeanyi drowned in a swimming pool at his residence in Banana Island area of Lagos. The horrific story happened on Monday night, a few days after his third birthday on October 20th. Hours after the news broke, celebrities like Iyabo Ojo, while the comedian William Uchemba, Paul Okoye, and several others have all shared condolences. Very sad one. A 3-year-old.
Well, we join others in condoling with the Adeleke family, specifically David Adeleke and his wife Chioma. This is tragic. This is unbelievable, considering the fact that this happens again and again. There was a similar incident also involving, a prominent artist, and then now you have this same, story. Just a few days after the young man's third birthday, and then the parents who were told had gone to Ibadan for a function, left him with minders, and then all of that story, tragedy occurred. Those minders with whom the young man was left behind in the house, who did not know when he went to the swimming pool, they should be immediately arrested by the police. And if negligence can be established, they should be made to face the full wrath of the law. This is sad. Sorry.
Very sad one. Talking about the death of a 3-year-old. So sad. Negligence again. I'm sure you were talking about Dispels, another popular artist.
I didn't want to mention names. I want to remind the family
of the grief. So it's such a sad one at this point in time. We can only, pray for the family at this point in time and pray it is well with them. It is a sad one, very sad one. The death of a child is unnatural. It is a sad one.